Question number one.
We had a lot of questions that were dropped off in the lobby, so I have the first one here. This one is from 3-year-old Vidamor. Do we have Vidamor in the audience?
Say that again.
Il amor, 3 years old.
Well, she is asking, what is your favorite color, food, and animal? Hers is red, tacos, and dinosaurs.
My favorite color is red. My favorite food is tacos. And I love dinosaurs.
Oh.
Hi.
Oh, chula.
Hey, be careful. Be careful. Walking down.
Oh, come on.
Can I have a hug? Go like this. Throw her a kiss. Throw a kiss. I love you. I love you. It's so cute.
That is cute.
We have another question.
Another question.
I really admire and look up to you as a role model. What advice would you give to an inspiring actor during these times? And this is from Lizette. Gracias, Edward James Olmos. Eres un orgullo.
The arts are really disciplines. And we already went through the discipline situation. So all I can tell you, as far as acting and working in theater and being a storyteller, because that's what you're trying to do, whether you be the director or the actor or the sound person or wardrobe, whatever department you want to be working in, you're a storyteller. You're helping tell the story. Now, all I can tell you is that the world is opening up. It's been so long coming, but it's slowly opening. But you are hitting it at the exact greatest time you could be. If I was a young actor right now, I'd be so happy because now they're really looking at us. They're really paying attention to us. They're trying desperately hard to find our stories. So if you can write. If you can act. If you're a singer, sing. Right now, our arts are really needed because there's so many of us. And what happens is it's the only expression that we can share with all the human race. And that's our arts. So I say to all of us, young artists, young actors, please don't stop. The only people I know that don't make it are the ones that stop are the only ones that don't make it. If you don't stop, it might take you 50 years, it might take you 40 years, it might take you 20 years. That's not the reason that you're doing it. You're doing it because you really appreciate and want to tell your story. So do it. Tell your story.
Yeah.
All right, another question. Mr. Olmos, would you mind speaking briefly about the Chicano area or the Chicago area connections and influences in your life and your career?
The influences, what influences?
The Chicago area influences.
Oh, God, are you kidding? The fact that when I came here, I came here the very first time was really back in 1983, I think it was. The Negrete family could probably tell me better. Yeah. They remember before, because I brought with me a film called The Ballad of Gregorio Cortez. Okay? And I came to Chicago for the first time to show it for free to anybody that wanted to see it. And we had no money. We were doing this all on our own. And Chewy said, "Hey, come on, man. You can come over to my house. And you can stay there, man." "Really?" "Yeah, man. You don't need no hotel. Come on." So we went over there and I slept on the floor. Really nice. They had a great floor.
Yeah.
The Negrete family, they couldn't be sweeter, nicer. They fed us. They took care of us. And we showed ourselves. That was the way I was introduced to Chicago, through the Negrete family. So,
Do we have time for one more question?
Yeah.
Rick, one more question?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody has to follow their own path in life, but I was wondering if there are any general principles or guidelines in life that have served you well for youth and elders.
Yeah. I mean, I said it flat out that the key to my existence has been that I discipline myself to do the things I love to do when I didn't feel like doing them. Therefore, I became all that I could be, not better than anybody else. How could you be better than somebody else? It's everybody's doing their thing. What ends up happening is that you end up finding inside of your craft, whatever that craft may be, you find yourself to the best of your ability as a human being, the best of your ability. And not even thinking about the outside, just you. How well can you do this? You know as well as I do, man. You've gone to, if you get a car fixed and you go to a mechanic that really knows what they're doing, it's like a work of art, man. They just shoo, 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 shoo. Then they hand you your car. It runs beautiful. A doctor gets you, helps you out. Work, 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 man. Passion. They're passionate about their work. And all I can ever say is, man, just find the passion, the ganas, the desire, and understand that you have to have patience, a lot of patience. You gotta take your time, and you can't be afraid of spending 10 years of hard looking at yourself inside of this craft, and then maybe you'll be one day wake up and say, "Wow, I really know this. I know this." It's taken me 10, 12, 14 years. I started acting in 1964 at the East LA Community College. I didn't get my first paycheck in the theater until 1978 when I did Zoot Suit. And that was my very first paycheck.
Yeah.
That was my very first paycheck in the theater. And I'd been doing theater since 1964. Here we are in 1978, 14 years later, and I made $250 a week. That was my first paycheck.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't even pay for the gas. Nothing. Well, I'd take that back. 1978, the gas was like 35 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
It's the good old days. But now, basically, artists, people, I don't care if you're 70, 80, if you're my age, right now, if you have a passion that you've always wanted to do, just do it and die doing it.
Yeah.
Just don't let it go, man. Live inside of that world and just become the best that you can be with the amount of time that you have. That's it. I spent a lot of time.
Yeah.
A lot of time. I mean, that it came out because in '64 that whole idea of 10,000 hours wasn't out yet. People weren't considering that formula where you have to spend 10,000 hours doing something and then you really learned it. Okay, that was I learned that. I heard about that when I was in my 30s. At 16, 17 years old, I had never heard that, but I ended up doing it for so many hours, so many days, so many years. And I did it I didn't think I would ever make any money doing this, ever. And it happened. And then all of a sudden, bingo, man, I did Zoot Suit, and I'm not kidding you. From Zoot Suit, as soon as I got off the stage, the very first night of Zoot Suit, my life had changed. That performance riveted and completely brought tears of joy and such pride to the Latino community, Chicanos especially. They just, like, people that saw that performance said, "Oh my God, I don't know what," and they would come back 20, 25 times, paying 45, $50 for a ticket to get in to see the play. And so for me, it's just a matter of understanding. From that moment on, from 1978 to today, I've never had to audition for a piece of work again. Now they come to me and they say, would you like to do this? And then I turn to them and I say very calmly, very quietly, "Oh gosh, I'm very expensive."
Yeah. And that's a great lesson in that Eddie came from community colleges.
Yeah.
I came from a community college, and what got me into this career was theater in a community college.
That's
So
right.
I compliment Morton. They're bringing more theater here. Our people need to do it because you may not be an actor, but you may end up being a producer.
Yeah.
You may have and a director. This skill will teach you so many different things about humanity and who you are, and the celebration of who you are and celebration of your culture. So, Dave, did you
Yeah,
need one
let's
more
go,
question?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
How did you deal with racism in film during your early years, on set and on set from other actors?
Uh, let's do one thing. I'm glad this is the question. The question is, how did I deal with racism? Okay. We have to stop using the word race as a cultural determinant. Okay. Now, what does that mean? It's a lot of big words there for a second. What does that mean? That means that there's no such thing as races. There's only one race, and that's the human race, period. Okay? That word race is a unifying word. It unifies us under the understanding that we are all one human species. Okay? The human race. There are African cultures, Latino cultures, Asian cultures, indigenous cultures, Caucasian cultures, but there's only one race. So when they say, how do you deal with racism? When a bug does not like you, that's racism. Okay? When somebody doesn't like me because of the color of my skin or because of my last name or because of the way I dress or with some discriminatory way that they want to get, that's discrimination. That's, that is not racism. Because there's only, like I said, we have to stop using that word race as a means of dividing us. We have to use that word as a way to unite us. Because as I was saying earlier, we have a chore when we leave here tonight. And one of those chores I think is going to be now whether or not you can take the word race and not use it as a cultural determinant. So instead of saying, that was racism, use the word discrimination. Use to unify us, use the word race. But to divide us, don't use that word. I got to tell you. So, how did I deal with the discrimination and the prejudice that I felt when I was coming up in school and when I was in my art form? Oh, I'll never forget. I mean, when I used to be Eddie James Olmos, and I went into a casting director at MGM, number one casting person of the lot at that time. And it had to have been about 1967, 68. And he looks at me and he says, listen, Ed, what kind of a name is Eddie Olmos? Eddie Starr or, Eddie, London or Eddie Olmos? You already got, you're way behind. I said, oh my God. I stood up and I was really so hurt that he would think that my name was not worthy of being said, that it would not bring the attention that I should be getting, and I said, you know what? I said, and I stood up and you're right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my God. I don't know how to thank you. You're right. And I turned away, and as I'm walking out the door, I said, from now on, I can see it now. It's Edward James Olmos. Thank you. From that day to right now, no marquee has ever not put my entire name across the marquee. Ever.
That's one thing about Eddie. Edward James Olmos.
Olmos.
Is we could joke about that. We
Yeah.
actually, we'll joke together, going like, "Am I talking to Edward James Olmos or Eddie right now?" And it's the hats he has to put on, and I realize that. And in Hollywood, it's actually a pretty friendly place among us. It is a family. I think of Pepe Serna and Cheech Marin and all the people we know and we work with. There is, of course, discrimination. Yes, there is, and there's. But what it is I look at it and say people are not able possibly to see our potential. And I constantly love proving people wrong
Yeah,
about us. I
too.
do. And you have done that your entire career. And thank you so much.